This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So in the last class, what we discussed in the last class? So we discussed, just we'll go for the revision. Okay. So we discussed the ETL validation we started yesterday. So as part of the ETL validation, we went through the ETL testing overview. So what is ETL testing? So extraction, transformation, and loading. Okay. From where we are extracting, from what kind of transformations, and then where we are going to load the data. Okay, so these kind of things we discussed in the yesterday class, right? Apart from that, so we discussed the ETL testing life cycle. So if you're going to start the QA, so from where we have to start, okay, and where it is going to end. So that is the testing life cycle, the ETL testing life cycle. Okay, that also we discussed in the yesterday class. You can see if you want, you can one more time. So first we are going to understand the requirements. So based on the which documents we are going to understand means documents are the business requirement document and the mapping document. Okay, based on these two documents we are going to understand the requirements and the functionality of the business. Okay, so in the business we are going to understand the based on the BRD. So what is the functionality, what is their business, what is the project, and technical things we are going to understand the from where it is loading from which table to which table, from what is the source system to target system, then how they are going to loading the mapping. Okay, that we are going to understand based on the mapping document. Okay, we have to understand before going to the test artifacts, we have to clear about our requirements. Okay, you have to clear about our requirements. So is the requirements are clear? Is there any ambiguity? Is there any still in confusion on the requirements? Okay, those things you have to get it the answers from the BA. Okay, once the requirement analysis is completed, then they have to start the test strategy document or test plan document. Okay, the test strategy document they're going to define mainly will be approach. How we are going to test the what kind of approach we are going to follow. So that they're going to mention in the test strategy document. Okay, but come to the test plan document. So there is what to test, when to test, and who to test. So these kind of information they mentioned in the test plan document. Means what is the scope of the testing, project scope, what is out of scope. Okay, where we are going to test, which environments, who are the involving. Okay, what parameters we are going to use for the testing. So all the information they are going to mention in the test plan document. Okay, next, once the test plan is completed, this test plan test strategy document they're going to people who are the more experienced or more than 6 years or 7 years or the lead or manager. So those kind of people they're going to prepare. Okay, next will be test execution, test scenarios and test cases. So we have to prepare based on the requirement, the mapping document. So we have to prepare the test cases. Okay, we have to prepare the test cases. So once you prepare the test cases, you have to send to the for review. Okay, you have to send the review to your lead or whoever the reporting is there to get it the approved. That we call as a peer review. Okay, once the test cases are reviewed, then you have to start the test execution. Okay, so test execution, what are the things we write here, right? So those things you have to start the test execution. So based on the test execution, if you found any defects, then you have to raise a defect and you have to follow the defect life cycle. Okay, once the defect life cycle is closed, the defect closed, whatever you raised, then we are going to prepare the QA sign off document. Okay, we are preparing the QA sign off document, a test closure report, a test completion report. The naming convention will be different or QA sign off. Okay, this document we are going to prepare and then get it the approve from our manager. So here we are saying that we are recommending that whatever we are tested, that is data quality wise, functionality wise, everything will be as expected. So that is our intention to providing the document. Once we provide the document only, they're going to deploy into the production. Okay, so this is the life cycle, guys. ETL testing life cycle. Okay. So this is we discussed. Apart from that, today we are going to discuss the mapping document, how it will be in the real time, what kind of mapping rules they mention. Okay, I'm going to show you the real time one. Yeah. See, for one dimension table, one fact table, I given the mapping documents. I'm going to share this one to you for understanding. So I told in the mapping sheet, they will ask in the interview point of view, what kind of fields are there, what kind of information will be there in the mapping document. So in the mapping document, the source system details, target system details, and the mapping rules. So these kind of information will be there in the mapping sheet. The source system details means what is the source schema, source table, which is source, what is the source name, okay, source columns and data types. Same target schema, target table, column names, data type, okay, and then transformation. What is the transaction type? What is the transformation they used? What is the filter or joins or any remarks? What is the load type, job name? So everything they mentioned in the this kind of information they will provide in the mapping document. Okay. For example, you can see here. This is a one stage table, game table. Okay, game table. So this game table is loading into the dim_dim game. Dim.dim. This is a schema name. This is the table name, dim_game. Okay. The column will be game ref key, the game ref key. Here will be string is string. So it will be direct column. So there is no any transformations for this. For this also same. You can see that this one. This is a game external system key column string. So dim game dd_brand_ key. So they're deriving this based on the these columns. You can see how they wrote the mapping rule. I said collects function. I explained case when external system key is an integer. So here the string is there. Okay, you can see the guys here they mention as a string this column, but they using the cast function. They converting into integer inbuilt. Okay, by at the time of the dynamic they are going to converting here, but actually this column is the string column, correct? It's a string, but as per the requirement they are going to convert this column into integer. Cast function they used, cast as integer equal to 1, then loto. So whenever the external system key is 1, then they mentioned as the game name will be loto. Okay, like that they're going to write all the 3 means TB, external system key 6 means HP, EM, Euro millions. Okay, hot picks. This is a hot picks. Thunderball. This is the Thunderball. Like that they give the short names. Okay, Euro million hot picks. So based on that they're going to define the case statement. So these kind of queries you have to write in our SQL side, source side. If you want to validate the data from here to here, means these already they implemented through ETL, right? Implemented through ETL and then loaded into the our dimension table, target table. If you want to compare means the same query, same logic you have to implement in this query on the source query, and then only you can able to match the data. Okay, so that is the way we have to practice the SQL. So this is a logic, this kind of logics you have to write. So here what kind of functions they used? One is a collects function, one is a cast function, okay, and case statement. Based on these three they showed here, this one, this logic they built. Okay, sometimes like that they clearly they'll mention we can able to use the same logic, copy paste into our query also. But in some companies sometimes they won't give this much clarity. That time you have to build the logic. Okay, see like that each column they're going to mention the logics. So SQL function out name equal to u. If the name is null, then they will take in the u value. Okay, if the name is a null value, then they will take in the u value. Otherwise, they will take the name only. Okay, the cast, see how they're using the logics, guys. Okay, like that it will be there in the real time, guys. the mapping sheet. So that's why I'm saying you have to practice more and more on the SQL. Then you can easily build the queries. Okay, I'll share this one for you guys for the one now. So see, somewhere it will be hard coded. So this column, there is no source column, but directly they are giving the target side. They are giving the dim game is a hard coded value. Every time it load as a dim game based on the current timestamp is today date. But whenever we load that date, it will be populated here. Okay, this is the hard coded values. Okay, and they are going to give the condition also. See what logic they implemented here. Join conditions. Dim game left outer join. This is one more table. They given the some condition prompts. Again, they're going to give the your one more join, the left outer join for this table. So like that, it will be the join conditions also. Here they given the clearly they mention, but it will be easy for us. But sometimes they won't give this kind of information in the mapping sheet. The high level they mentioned the high level. Okay, that time we have to see what kind of source columns are there, source tables are there. So we have to give the join condition properly and what kind of filter prompts. All those things you have to clearly you have to take, and then you have to build your query. Okay, understand guys? Mapping document. So what will be there in the mapping document? The source information, target information, and logic information. So these kind of three fields will be there in the target, the mapping document. See, same thing will be fact table. Okay, so one fact table. See, they go in the art trim. So I explained the art trim, substring, everything I explained. So trimming, if there are any spaces on the right side, they're going to trim the by using the trim function, and then substring and case statement. Okay, art trim. What is this one? Uppercase. This is a U case means. So this is a high. The database will be high. That's why the syntax will be different. That's it. But this is uppercase. Okay, U case means uppercase. So one database to another database, the little bit the functions will be vary. Okay, in our Oracle we are in the uppercase, right? Upper, so lower and upper. So here they say in the U case, and then cast sum aggregate function. Sum is nothing but the aggregate function, date function. See, so here everything is a NVL. See, case NVL of this one is a null. So whenever null value is there, then they are going to give us some space equal to system then G. Okay, so all those things whatever we discussed guys in our class only. So these are all functions we discussed. Okay, so these kind of logics will be there in the real time. These are current working real time project only guys. Okay, that's why I shared the one dimension table, one fact table. So all the table like that only it will be there. Maybe one or two functions, maybe it will be vary compared to our class. Okay, that you have to just check on the Google site, then you can get the answers. Okay, any doubts on guys mapping sheet? Any doubts? Okay, so next we'll go for the test cases. So what kind of test cases we have to build as part of the ETL testing? We know the functionality, we know the architecture of the ETL, from where to where it is loading, what kind of logics they are going to implement. Okay, so now we have to come to actual testing. What kind of test cases we have to prepare? Okay, so in the ETL testing, we are going to define the 5 ways. We are going to define the 5 phases. We are going to validate the any table. Okay, any table. One is the job validation test case, guys. Job validation scenario. First one will be job validation. Second will be data structure validation. Structure validation. Okay. The next one will be full load or initial load. You can call anything. Someone call as a full load. Someone call as a initial load. Okay. Next will be incremental or delta load. Okay. full load or initial load validation. Okay, incremental delta load validation. Okay, next will be regression part, regression validation. So this last one will be sometimes it may require, sometimes it may not required. The regression part. I will tell you what is the regression later point of view. Okay. First we'll go and discuss these 4 phases. Okay. We have to prepare the test cases accordingly. These are all the phases. Okay. First we'll see the test cases, the template, how it will be there. Still I didn't prepare this. I will prepare just high level columns I mentioned. So job name or report name means if you are detailed testing, you have to mention the job, what kind of job you are going to execute here. The job name. So report name is which report you are going to validate. That's why I give the job name or report name. So ETL testing and BA testing here. Okay. What scenario? So job validation scenario I'm going to validate. So ID, test case ID. So accordingly you can mention the if you give the here is the dim customer I mentioned. So that's why I mentioned the DC, dim customer. You can easily identify the test cases. What is the related test cases? These are the so TC DC1. So like that, if you want, you can mention the whatever the test cases are there. So it will come the all the IDs. Unique ID should be for each test case. You have to give one unique ID. Okay, and you have to mention the test cases names and the test case description. So what you are expecting the result, expected result. This you have to prepare before the test case test execution. This part you have to prepare the before you're going to review, right? That time you have to prepare this all those things. After execution, you have to prepare these things. What is your expected result? What you got the actual result. So based on the expected result and the actual result, if you matching, then you can say pass or fail. Okay. Then at the time of the query only, you have to prepare the based on the mapping document. What is the source query? In the source query, you have to apply all the logic, whichever I showed you logics, guys. So these kind of logic you have to apply in the source tables, not target table, because target table already it's applied through ETL and then loaded the data in the target table, right? So we have to apply only on the source side only. You have to apply the logics. You have to build the source query and we have to build the target query. You have to compare these 2 queries in the database. Okay, source query and target query. Is there any defect? If you raise any defect, so you have to raise a defect, you have to give the defect ID here. And which environment you are going to use. Suppose when in some environment we have the multiple environments or the test environment or dev environment. So where you are going to checking these validations, that environment you have to mention here. Environment name. Okay. This is the any company 90% this kind of fields only there, guys. The test case template like that it will be same. Maybe it will vary. Some companies they're going their own template. Okay, that time they will share you the template. But the most of the time these are the common test case ID, test case description, expected result, result, status. So these all 6 will still be common. Some people they'll write the here only they'll write the source query and target query. The test case name itself in the down itself they'll write the source query, target query. But here I just for the easy understand purpose I mentioned the different. Okay. So this is the test case template, guys. Whenever you have to go mandatory, you have to prepare the test cases. We are the testing, we are the testers. Okay, you have to prepare the test cases in this format. Okay, I will once I will finish that one, I will share you these guys also. I'll prepare the some test cases. I'll share you guys. So meanwhile, just will understand the what kind of test cases we are going to prepare as part of the job validation. Okay. So these all you have to. This is a keep on repeating, guys. Once you prepare the test cases, the same test cases we are going to use in the every time. Okay, but only we have to change the naming conventions. That's it. Naming conventions, logics, and queries you have to change it. The testing will be cases will be same only. Okay. The first will be you have to use the whatever the job you are going to execute. So the job is available or not. You have to check the first case. Verify the job is available or not. Just high level I'm writing, guys. The syntax is the spelling mistakes and grammar you have to correct it. Okay, at the time of writing. Just I'm writing the high level here. So first we are going to check the whatever the job we are going to validate to load the data from source to stage or source to target. That particular job is available or not, you have to check in the tool or whatever the tool they provided. In that tool, either Informatica or Talent or any other tool. Okay, first you have to go and check that job is available or not. Okay, once the job is available, if there is pass. Okay, is there any dependency this particular job? Verify any dependent jobs for example, I will take in the dim customer. The job name will be dim customer. Okay, for dim customer job. Okay, clear, guys. Verify any dependent jobs for the dim customer job. Okay, so this dim customer, before I'm going to execute this job, is there any dependencies? If there dependencies, you have to run that dependent job first, and then only you can able to run this dim customer job. Without the dependent job, we can't. This one, if you run also, the data it will not populate the correctly because the keys will be it has to the linking. Okay, that's why we have to check the is there any dependency for this particular jobs. If is a dependent, you have to run the job. Okay. Next, verify the dim customer job is running successfully or not. Okay, verify the whatever the job you are going to run, that job is successfully running or not. That you have to write. Okay. Next, okay, verify audit tables. Audit tables updated correctly after job ran. Means what is the audit table means? For example, I ran one job. You have to maintain it when you have to run. So that's why we have to that kind of information, the tracking information. So the tracking information will be available in the audit. We call it as audit tables. So in these audit tables, they go and see the which job you ran, at what time you ran, at what time it's completed, what is the status of that particular job, it's ran or success or completed or error. So all the kind of information it will be stored into the these audit tables. Okay, this audit tables it going to store the whatever the job you ran, those job information details it will going to store into the here. So later point of view also you can go and check the so what time I have run this particular job and when it is going to start, when it will end. So what is the status of the job? So everything you can able to see in the audit tables in future. Okay. So the audit table information updated in the or not. After job is executed successfully, it has to update automatically in the audit tables. Okay. So these kind of validations we are doing as part of the job validation. This is a basic check. Once these things completed, then only we can go for the next step. So job is completed successfully, but the information is not updated in the audit table means you have to raise a defect. You have to raise a defect. So this table is not updating correctly. Okay, but there is no blocking for us because the job is run successfully. We can go for the next testing, next level testing. Okay, if the job is not run successfully, then we are the blocking here. We can't go the next level because we can't do the validations next level validation. Okay, clear, guys? Any doubts here? Job validation part. Next, the structure validation. Next step will be 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. So next will be structure validation. So whatever we did validation, so as per the mapping document, what is the data types here? Okay, what is the data type? So the same data type they build or not. What is the size of the size? Okay, here in the cloud, this is the cloud big data one mapping document. That's why they didn't mention the, by default it will be string only. That is the reason they mentioned the, they didn't mention the sizes here. But in as well our normal testing, they're going to mention. Yesterday I showed you one more mapping document, my previous company. Where is the document? Projects. Yeah, I can see. So like that, they clearly they mentioned, guys. So what is the data type? Some these are previous company, so like that they followed. For current company, they followed just now I showed you. So target table information, mapping information, what is the source table information, what is the data types, okay, what is the mapping rule they used here. See guys, so nothing they didn't anything new here. All sum count like that they only implemented. Okay, what is the source information? What is the source table? But they didn't give any join. They didn't provide, but you have to write the join here. Okay, what is the columns are there here? See different columns. You have to build the join condition for this. Okay, some companies for here you can mention the join. See clearly they mentioned here group by class. What they use in the group by class? What is the join condition they use? What is the tables are involved? Source tables. Okay, the type of the table will be materialized review. So like that, the clear some companies they follow clearly. Some companies they won't follow the clearly. Here you can see directly you can copy paste and then you can execute the your queries. In that way, our testing will be easy. But sometimes they did the wrong here. Then we can't find the defects. Okay. So don't follow simply the developer's query. You have to think and you have to analyze the query. Okay. If we simply follow this query, if you there's anything wrong here, then our testing also it will be wrong. We can't find because of the data always it will match. Okay. So this is the data types, all those things. As part of the structure validation, we are going to check the structures are the as expected or not. They defined correctly or not the structures. So data types, column size, all those things. That we are going to validate the as part of the structure validation. The structure validation we are going to validate the, so whatever the as per the mapping document, what they define the structures like data type and column size. So the same thing will be as expected or not, we are going to check here from source table to target table. Okay. Verify the data type. Okay. For the data type for each column. Dim customer. Column data types for dim customer table. As per the mapping document. Okay, as per the mapping document, you have to check the column data types. It will be correctly defined or not. The second one will be same will be verify the column size. Here guys, here one thing you have to observe. If it is a direct column, if it is a direct column, then there is no issue. For example, direct column means EMP number to EMP number. So my source will be EMP number it's loading into MP number. Okay, this is a direct mapping. We call as a direct mapping. This is the direct mapping. Okay, one more mapping is the derived mapping. One more is the derived mapping. Okay, for example, first name is there, last name is there. So these two columns I'm populating as a full name. Okay, these two columns they populate by using the some functions, some calculations, some mapping rule. They loaded as a full name. So these kind of mappings we call as the derived mappings. Okay, clear, right? What is direct mapping, what is derived mapping? Okay, so one-to-one mapping is there, then those kind of mappings we call as a direct mapping. So whenever we use any functions mapping rules, okay, whenever we use the any mapping rules, group by functions or max or count or anything, okay, those kind of mappings we call as a derived mappings. Okay, so here the column size will be 5. For example, column size will be 5. Okay, here also it will be 5. It's be fine. There is no issue on the here. There is no issue on the here. So for example, here the column size will be 10. This column size will be 10. If you mention by mistake here, they mistake the 10, they define 10, then there is a issue, right? So here the two columns are there. The column here may be 10 is there, 10 is there. Maybe the name will be 10 characters full. Here the name will be 10 characters full. Then it won't load the here only 10 characters are there. Or something, for example, here 11 characters. Okay, what happened the data now here? So it will be 10, right? Yeah, the data will be, we can't load full data we can't load here, but the count is everything is matching. So here the 10 records are there, here it load the 10 records, but the data mismatches happen. So that is the reason the importance of the structure validation is we have to thoroughly check the direct column, direct mapping, the column size, data types, everything will be as expected or not, we have to check here. Okay, so always will be the source column size, the target column size, target table column size should be equal or greater than or equal or greater than or equal to the source size, sorry, equal to the source column size, source table column size. Okay, this is our scenario. We have to validate this kind of validation we have to do in the real time. Clear, guys? The structure validation. Okay, I'm keeping the same thing here. Next will be third one. Okay, the third one we have to check the referential integrity. Okay, referential integrity we have to check. The source side, yesterday I explained the EMP table and the department table. What is the referential integrity? Okay, the DPT table is a parent key, parent table, and employee is a my child table. Okay, so that kind of referential integrity, whenever we give the join, how to validate the referential integrity means we have to give the join condition, but those parent and child table, and then if we fetch the data is coming or not, fetching or not after giving the join condition. Okay, so whenever we give the join condition, the data has to fetch, right? Then if we are matching, then only it will fetch the data. Means that is the referential integrity. By using the join condition, we are going to validate the referential integrity working as expected or not. Okay, working as expected or not, we are going to check the referential integrity. Verify the referential integrity for the dim customer table. How we are going to validate means based on the join conditions. Based on the give the join condition, what is the relationship between this particular table, what are the columns are there in the source side. The same tables you have to use in the target table also. This we have to check in the target table. Okay, that is the structure validation we have to go perform in the structure validation. So same thing you have to explain, guys, in the interview also. Same whatever the thing I'm explaining, same thing you have to explain in the interview. That's it. No need to tell any new things. Okay, this is the enough to as part of the interview point of view. Okay, the next step will be full validation, full load or initial load. What is meant by full load or what is meant by initial load means the first time so the target table is empty. Okay, there is no data available. There is no data. They build the target table. There is no data available in the target table. First time we are going to execute the job and then load ingesting the data from the source to target table. That load we call as a full load or initial load. We call as a full load or initial load. Okay, the first time we are going to insert the data into target table from the source table. That load we call as a full load or initial load. Some companies they call as a full load. Some companies are called as a initial load. And also one more way is there the definition of the full load. Full load is nothing but the always will be truncated load in the target table. Means it will be fresh load. The means truncated load means every time whatever the source data is there, the source data will be there in target side. So it will be truncated load, always truncated load. Okay, that also. Okay, full load or initial load. So here we have to check the, as of now we verified the job is completed or not, and then the structure is as expected or not. Okay, so here I have to add one more point here. The table is the dim customer table is available in the target table is available in the target schema or not, you have to check. After then only you have to go on the structure and then column size. Dim customer, verify the target table is available in schema, in data warehousing or target schema. Okay, target schema. So once the table is available, target schema, then only we are going to check the target table schema structure, data type and column size and the referential integrity. Okay. Okay. Next here we have to go check first point in the dim customer table. After run the job, the data ingested or not, first of all you have to check. Whenever you have to go check, select star from the dim customer table. To write, if you execute that query, then you can able to see the data ingested or not. First of all, data is available or not. That is your basic check. Okay. Verify the dim customer table. Okay. Verify the data ingested or not into dim customer table. How you have to write means this is the you have to write. Here up to now we no need to write any queries, guys. Up to here no need to write any queries. Only accept the referential integrity. Referential integrity. We have to write the query. For this point of view, we have to write the query. But here structure means how we are able to see the structure. I'll give the query also, guys. Describe DESC table name. This is the query. Dim customer. So like that. So this is a depends upon the very much. So in the Oracle we are going to DESC, and the SQL Server maybe they use for the show underscore help something. Okay. Otherwise you have to go double click on the table name. The table list, you have to go the table list. You can double click on the table. Okay. So this is a syntax. Describe the dim customer. The here you have to use the join condition. So what is the here? So verify the means select star from dim dot means schema dim dot dim underscore customer. Okay, this is a target table. We are checking the target table. We are checking the target side. This one, this query we are writing the target table. Okay. So first of all, this data is ingested or not. Okay. The second test case we are going to write. Okay. So you can do the validation, count validation, verify the count validation. So you have to write the source count and target count. The source count and target count you have to write the query. So how the target means simple. There is no any logics required for the target count. Okay. Directly you can use the select count star from dim dot dim underscore customer. So this is a new target query. Okay. The source query you have to write the what are the logics they implemented, what are the joins are there. So you can see here. For example, you can understand here. So this is the query you have to from these are the tables. You have to use the join condition. You have to use the without the join condition also final. You have to use the group by class. Everything you have to mention in the logic, in the source logic. You have to mention the query. You have to build the query here. Always you have to build the source query. This is simply as per the I'm just mention the select count star from source. I'm going to give this a stage dot game table. Okay. Or so what are the condition where conditions like that I'm giving the condition here. Okay, you have to build this query guys based on your requirement. You have to write the this condition, this source query, then only it will match the data source count as well as the target count, right? If you do directly select the count star from the stage game, then it won't match the condition. Through ETL they applied some logics, transformation logic they applied, right? So that is the reason you have to write the, you have to apply those logics in your source query, then only it will match the count. If a count is not matching after applying also, then you have to raise a defect. After correctly you are applying the data logics in the source query, the count is not matching, then you have to raise a defect. Okay, you have to raise a defect. Okay, the next will be the count validation is completed. Next will be duplicate check. And the target table, is there any duplicate records are loading? Check validation. How you will check the duplicate validation? On which column we are going to use? The unique column, business key columns. So what are the business key columns are there in that particular dim customer table? So on top of that, those customers you have to check the is there any duplicates loading or not? Okay. For example, here I'm taking the dim customer ref key, first ref key. This is my duplicate key, first ref key, comma. This is the query guys. Count star from dim dot. In the real time, always you have to follow the schema names guys. Schema name dot table name. Always you have to use the schema name for best practice. Whenever you're doing the testing, practicing also, you have to follow the schema name dot table name. This is the best way of practice. Okay, for real time. Dim customer group by cust ref key. Because you have to use the non-aggregated column in the group by ref key having count star greater than 1. Okay, this is your duplicate query guys. For each and every table, this is the only you have to change the table name and the this column name. Sometimes it will be sometimes it will be combination of the columns, key columns you have to check. Combination of the key columns. That time you have to mention all the columns here and the group by columns. Okay, that is the doubly check validation. Okay, the next one will be business key column validation. Business key column validation. What is the business key means? For example, this is a business key. Customer key is one business key for me. So this column should not populate the null values or any spaces. Okay, should not populate the null values. Okay, or any spaces. Sometimes they'll load the, instead of null, they load the some space. Okay, how you are going to validate means select star from dim underscore customer. Okay, where customer key is null. If you execute this one, it should not populate any data. If you execute this one, it should not populate any data. Null value should not load. Okay, zero record should come. Okay, next one more query. Sorry. The same way the spaces also. Here customer key equal to like that. You have to check these two conditions. You have to check these two queries. You have to execute the target table. So guys, these are the target table. Target set you have to execute. Okay, first ref key. Okay, so and also one more thing, business key column is how many ref keys are there? Customer ref keys in the business here. You have to write the one more query. Target query. Select count of. Count off means you have to open the bracket, guys. Count off. We call it the count off. Okay. Distinct customer keys from dim underscore customer. Okay, this is my table. So here it is not required any group by because of I didn't use any non-aggregated columns here. Only count only I used. Okay, that's why it's not required the group by. So here whatever the ref keys are there count. Same thing you have to check in the source query. Source query. Select distinct ref keys. The stage, what is the stage table? That you have to use the stage table. stg.give. Some whatever the thing, the table name. Based on the table name, you have to check the distinct ref keys. So these should be matched. This count should be matched. What are the ref keys are there in the source side business keys? The same business key count should be unique, distinct count should be in the target table also. So business key validation, these many ways we are going to write in the business key validations. So everything we are doing as part of the finally will be our data quality will be as expected or not, we are checking guys here. So in different ways we are going to validate, is there any mistake, any mismatch is there. So final our output will be the data quality should be the quality of the data we are going to checking here. Quality of the data we are checking here. All the data, whatever the data is there in the source side, the same data it will be reflected or not. Okay. Okay guys, we'll stop it here up to now. Okay, if we tell more on the same day, then it will be difficult to understand. Just go through guys this one. If you want, I'll ping this one in the chat room. Okay, whatever we discussed, but you can frame this sentence, this whatever I explained, the frame, the business key or lesson, you have to give the framing, proper framing you have to give. Okay, I'll mention here. Just you want to copy here, going to mention here. Just copy it These things you can copy it. Okay. Chart window I pinged. So yes, you can copy it. I'm going to stop.